Your Honor, Counsel, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is Marisa Prieto, and it is my utter pleasure to represent the plaintiff, Creative Technology Investments, and to serve as a prosecutor on this very vital case. The defendant in this matter marketed the Teacher's Pet app as a secure educational app, knowing full well that the true purpose of the app was cheating. My client has not only lost a significant amount of their firm's money, but also their client's money, and most importantly, their client's trust. Thus, the plaintiff, Creative Technology Investments, has no choice but to file a lawsuit for fraud and negligent misrepresentation. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, since this is a civil case, the plaintiff's burden of proof for fraud is clear and convincing evidence, while for negligent misrepresentation, the burden of proof is the preponderance of evidence. What is clear and convincing evidence? This means the evidence is highly and substantially more likely to be true than untrue. Notice that the evidence does not have to meet the standard of beyond a reasonable doubt. The evidence merely has to be more true than untrue. What is this preponderance of the evidence? Well, imagine if my hands were scales. Notice how they are completely even in the beginning? Well, if during this course of this case, as you hear the evidence and facts, if I manage to tip the scale slightly in the favor of my client, then we, the prosecution, will have met the burden of proof. In other words, if there was a greater than 50% chance, let's say 50.00001% chance, that the evidence weighs more in the favor of the plaintiff, my client, then we, the prosecution, will have met the burden of proof. The facts of this case are quite straightforward. The evidence will show that on October 5th, 2016, my client, Creative Technology Investments, invested $500,000 of its money into Teacher's Pet LLC. The evidence will also show that the defendant marketed the Teacher's Pet app as an educational app, even though there were rumors about a bug called a wasp swirling around the internet that claimed that students could easily cheat on their assignments with the autograde feature. To back up this evidence, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the prosecution will call 3 witnesses to the stand: G. Hawkins, Cam Turner, and Jordan King. First, we will call G. Hawkins, the partner at Creative Technology Investments, who will testify how the defendant skillfully deceived Creative Technology Investments. Next, we will call Cam Turner, a student and friend of the defendant, who will testify that the defendant not only knew about WASP, but actually had a hand in creating it, thus proving that the defendant's claim of ignorance is false and that WASP was not just a mere bug in the Teacher's App program, but was actually intentionally placed in it. Finally, we will call Jordan King, a computer consultant, who will testify that the WASP was not just a bug in the autograde feature, but was actually purposely created by the program developer, aka the defendant. Members of the jury, as we go through this process, you may hear the defense argue that the defendant had no idea about WASP, or that it wasn't intentionally created because, after all, it was just a bug. However, witness testimony will show this claim to be wildly false, as there is no way possible that the autograde feature, or WASP, was just a bug. Members of the jury, you may also hear from the defense that the true mastermind behind WASP was Cam Turner, as he believed that with WASP in the app, it would attract more students to purchase and download the app. However, evidence and witness testimony will show that the Teacher's Pet app did not need to rely on the WASP's cheating feature to garner a huge profit, as universities and schools around the country, around the world, were already very interested in the app's success. Thus, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to remind you that you are the finders of fact, and you will determine what the facts are in this case and how they apply to the law, as the judge tells you what the law is at the end. For these reasons, after you have heard all the evidence, after you have seen all the evidence, at the end of this trial, we, the prosecution, will ask you to return a verdict in favor for my client, Creative Technology Investments. Thank you.